What's up folks, it's Fozzie here. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. It's Monday, which means we've got yet another FIFA 22 custom tactics video for you. We're taking a look at the 4-3-1-2 formation today. One of my favourites from FIFA 21 that I haven't shown too much love to through FIFA 22, but I know it's popular, so I tested this past weekend, over the past week actually, in Rivals and then in Champs. We finished 14-6 with it, which is like the highest I ever finished, so that's why I know it's good for me and will be great for you guys as well. So if you do enjoy the video, please leave a thumbs up on it. It's really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here as well. And without any further ado, let's just dive into the custom tactics. You can see this is the team this isn't necessarily the team I was using, you'll see in the gameplay, but this is my updated team following some of the SBCs, and I'll show how I would line it up in game. So I have it set up in the attacking system, and just as always to know, because it says attacking doesn't mean it's your attacking, and the ultra attacking has to be more ultra attacking. Think of this as option 1, 2, 3 and 4, and you can have whatever you want. That does not worry at all. So we're playing a fully balanced system, which is something I do often, but I found it worked really well with the 4-3-1-2. So we're going to be playing with a 47 width. Because we've got a 4 at the back, you're not having to worry about like a 3 at the back system where the centre backs will be too spread, so we can get away with a bit of higher width, and then it means transitioning into the attacking width, there won't be as much of a disconnect. Playing 60 depth, because obviously there's no defensive midfielders. I want to be able to be a little bit up the pitch and have a pressing option if I ever decide to. But if you play anything higher than this with a 4-3-1-2, unless you're incredibly clinical at a really high level, you'll get punished for it. So I found this was a sweet spot. For the build-up, I don't know what it is in the game right now. I feel like some of the other options where like you've got forward runs or direct passing or like fast build-up and long ball, I'm finding that like being more base and balanced works better in general. So rather than having like every single option set, you maybe have only like you have 1 or 2 unbalanced and 1 change. So we ran fully balanced, 53 width. This is because you get 3 central midfielders. You want to spread them out a little bit more, and having that 53 width helps. And then we're continuing with my trend of 5 players in box and 2 on corners and free kicks. For the actual formation, how you line up, normal 4-back system, you want 2 centre backs, 2 full backs. On the midfield side of things, you want a defensive midfielder to play your centre midfield role, like your actual centre midfielder role. On the right hand side of him, you want a box-to-box player that can defend. On the left hand side, you want an attacking like centre mid style player. So Felipe Anderson can play here because he's got max like really high aggression, really high interceptions and decent defending stats in general. Anyone like that, like the Mkhitaryan's one that comes to mind, I used to play here a lot. Like basically, if you've got over like 60 defending kind of thing, you can play them here. And in the front 3 is kind of whatever you want. I find having 1 stronger striker like an Osimhen, Lewandowski, a Weghorst, something like that, and then 2 faster players beside them is what works best. For the instruction side of things, the goalkeeper is fully balanced, not going to change anything there, and then the centre backs are also on default. It's the left back who we put on stay back while attacking. We have the first notable change. So I don't want to play around with run types because they're very hit and miss this year, so you're just going to be stay back, leave everything else on its default setting, but having your left back on stay back allows your right back to be fully default but have the overlap run types to ensure that they're going to make runs around that centre midfielder, that right centre midfielder. It doesn't matter, it doesn't strictly have to be your right back in the settings. You can reverse the left back and right back where you want. I find though having the right side, having an attacking fullback with a defensive midfielder at right centre mid works best. It's a weird one. It probably is the exact same if you just flip them properly, because I would say if you want to use an attacking left back, it's best to have your box-to-box defensive player on left central midfield. So in this case, if you wanted Emerson to be your attacking fullback, you would then swap Felipe Anderson and Milinkovic Savic around on the pitch with the relevant instructions that you'll see now. For the defensive midfielder, which is Brozovic in this case, they're just going to run stay back and cover centre. Now, they're not going to be too like defensive minded here, obviously, because they are in a central midfielder role. We can't use like cut passing lanes or man mark and those sort of options, which do exist for the central defensive midfielder. But having this sort of will help stop a disconnect between the midfield and the defence. If you have him playing balanced, a big gap will form between that back line and the midfield. So this kind of helps mean that there will be a triangle connection between your 2 centre backs and your defensive midfielder. And obviously that creates some more passing lanes for you. For the box-to-box guy, you're not going to have them on get forward. They are just going to be balanced, and the only thing you're going to change is have them on stay on edge of box or cross. If you even play them balanced here, this is where you'll find you have too many players committing into the box, and all of a sudden, like if you don't score from that opportunity, all of a sudden you're left with basically your left back out wide but defensively, and then 3 in the middle with Brozovic, Chiellini and Koulibaly. And that can be very easy for people just to pump through balls, or even just use like direct passing and do lots of little L1 passes. having Milinkovic Savic not rush into the box and also not be able to get forward means he'll float in that space and it fills the pitch really nicely. And I hadn't used this card much, but he was really impressive in this position. Like, he would be offensive and could score and could find his way into the box if I wanted him to, but he always just sort of covered up that nice little space. So that's what I would recommend. On the left central midfielder though, you are going to be going with get forward and get into the box or cross. This is, like, I've got Felipe Anderson here. This is a much more attacking player that you can score with. So the overall goal is someone that can track back and defend if needed, like with lower stats, but will be really effective on this get into the box and get forward, and hopefully you'll be able to see that in the gameplay. And then if we look at the cam, I'm going for traditional here where I have stay forward and get into the box or cross, but I've turned off aggressive interceptions. Not really had a big reason for it. I've used aggressive interceptions on the cam for like the past 2 months. I wanted to try something different. In this case, it helps keep the stamina on Dybala, who I wanted to be playing most of the game. Also, I was switched between him and Insigne being here. Insigne can win the ball back anyway because he's got okay-ish defending stats. And he's got a bit of a glitch going on with him, but basically this helps keep the stamina so that you don't necessarily have to sub off this cam and they can play the entire game. You'll have noticed a little change here. I've swapped Insigne and Osimhen around. My right striker was my stay forward, stay central and get in behind, which is what you want your taller striker to do. I had been using Immobile here. Obviously I'm now using Osimhen here. And then on the left striker side of things, this is when you can have get in behind on, and this is really just your PSC option. This is a common thing I do for the two strikers. Basically, big guy's going to be staying forward, but also like wanting to get in behind, but you want them to stay central and allow everyone else to be wide around them. As I was saying, I sometimes will swap Dybala and Insigne, and in this case I would, because Dybala would be a better left striker and Insigne would be a better camp, so I'd line up like that. And that's how there's a lot of flexibility in the system. Actually, before we even get into the gameplay, there's one thing I need to note for you guys, and it's that you can actually play this system with a press, and you'll see this in gameplay. 2 of the videos are me with the full balance, and then 2 of the videos are whenever I turn on press after possession loss. Literally everything else in the tactic stays the same. You just put on press after possession loss, and obviously that's a bit more aggressive to try and win the ball back, and it can work really well. This is where it's kind of like just being reactive to how the opponent is. Obviously, if you've got a lot of control in the game at halftime anyway, and you're dominating, you'll be fine. But if you're finding yourself losing in the game, you don't have much control of the ball, this is something you can try changing to the press. But yes, we'll go into the gameplay now. Okay guys, so the first game here, I've titled it a 3-0 Swift Rage Quit. I think it's only a couple minutes long. I'm going to flick through it and get the goals for you guys, but it will show how this system works. I'm going to let this minute or so of gameplay just sort of play out for you guys. As you can see there, that was a thumping through ball. We managed to win the ball back and just play it through. And this is a defensive shape. It defends almost like a 4-2-2 because your cam or your left striker, typically the cam, sort of slots into like that system for you. So obviously I had Pellegrini in this case as my left central midfielder, but Dybala as left striker, where we play the big ball through to him. I managed to play it back into Immobile. Got a bit lucky with the finish there. But essentially, yeah, on kickoff, it defends almost like how a 4-4-2 would, with how people split in together. And this is a very common defensive shape. So yes, in this case, I had Mkhitaryan playing as my cam role, and although he's on stay forward, basically he hovers in that position where he's not like fully defending with the team, but he's also just not quite as far forward as the strikers would be. So it's kind of like a mix of like a 4-3, like a 4-3-3 system, or like a 4-4-2, sort of hovers between those amounts. And then I think this is very much be a counter attack here, where we managed to get a lucky block in with Brozovic. A nice turn with Pellegrini, and then we're in a 2-on-2 against this guy. But Emerson, who is on stay back, but I've obviously sent him on a run with L1. Mkhitaryan will stay forward as a cam, which helps give a nice passing option. I went really over optimistic there. I should have cut that back, and then I got lucky with the ball bouncing back to Immobile, and that was a swift 3-0 rage quit. This game is going to be the second one where we were playing fully balanced. It is a 6-1 rage quit, but I think it shows, there's a few elements here where it shows a really good like build up and the defensive style, so I'm going to find those specific goals for you and showcase them for you. I just find with a lot of my gameplay, a lot of it does come down to counter attacks because they led to get forward. So Pellegrini is on get forward there, so he's instantly made the run. We have Immobile here, and I don't know what he was doing with his defender, and we managed to get it in. So even without a press, this is us playing a fully balanced. Obviously, we just lost the ball while attacking, but we managed to get forward with Cafu, and I think this is the best way to show the difference between the stay back and the full back who's going to be getting forward. So Cafu here, although I'm not controlling him, he's already sat that little bit further forward than Emerson, who you can see on the top left of the screen below the AAC. I'm hovering over him now, and then the centre back. So essentially, you always defend him with a 4-back, but your right back, even though they're not on step up, will be stepping up that little bit more. They're ready to go on the attack. In this case, it allows me to switch into Cafu and make the tackle. Obviously, if I didn't, his left back then would have a lot of space, so it's important you can make those tackles. But then we're very easy to counter attack. I had Karsdorp in the position where Milinkovic Savic was in the tactics gameplay, and then Dybala made a nice little run. I'll just let the gameplay play for a little bit to try and showcase like the defensive shape. You can see here, because we're not pressing, the team holds its shape. really well. And then because you've got that, I quite like formations with the 3 stacked midfield options, because it gives you lots of passing opportunities. Sometimes you might find that you don't have as many opportunities going forward, because obviously if how you're set up relied on just like a core 3 triangle, and if someone's playing a 5 at the back, you might find yourself against 3-on-5 endlessly while you wait for your centre midfielders to catch up. But in general, the system worked really well. You can see the defensive shape here. Pellegrini was number 11, who was sort of dropping in to try and help the left back. I was able to step up with the centre back, and the team's still just holding the shape really well. And because we're not playing fast build up either, the team just obviously they're very balanced and getting forward. We get through the mobile and manage to score. So it's like you're not rushing into tackles, you're not high press. The team will hold the shape really well, and then because our attack is also fully balanced, it's just like a very smooth transition. And I find myself actually looking for passes a lot more while playing this system. Like, I was trying to play proper football. I would build out from the back a bit more. It wasn't just about pumping it long for a through ball. You'd work a couple of passes between players to find those avenues to then play that final ball to get the chance on goal. Also, can we just appreciate this free kick? He puts Fofana on the line for it, and it still goes in. The battle team of the season on free kicks is immense. And again, although we're not on pressing, this is fully balanced. We're playing here. I managed to win the ball back with Pellegrini because he held his position well, tap it through to Dybala, and then just cheeky little outside of the foot shot puts it in top bins. So in this game I was 2-0 down, and this is when I made the change to just put on pressing on. If I lost the ball, I wanted to try and press against this guy because I felt it was working well. We managed to score basically straight away when we changed the tactics, and then we'll show you the next 2 goals as we went on to make this comeback. And this is where I'm saying about how the pressing can be reactive. I think the balance is definitely the best way to play off the start, as his Mbappe was absolutely ruining me here. But balance is the best way to play off the start of the game, 100% for me with this system. But if you can be reactive and understand that, okay, I'm going to have an opportunity with the press to possibly get some opportunities against my opponent and get myself back into the game, or maybe take the lead, get that quick rage quit, then like that's where you have to be reactive in your gameplay to make this decision. And then obviously you'll see here how that works out for me. And obviously because the attacking things are still balanced, whilst we will press to win the ball back, there's still lots of, like, there's so many passing options I have here. No one's like rushing for balls in behind. Everyone's just playing quite neutral. The AI is working the space, and that's what it can be. Sometimes we overthink these tactics, with having everyone with lots of instructions and everyone having to like have maxed out like pressing and like making forward runs and stuff like that. So sometimes it's handy just let the AI do its job. You know, sometimes it can be great, sometimes it can be awful. I found in this case with the balance system, it was working really well. So it took us until in the second half. I think we had a lot of control in this game, but it takes us till the second half. I'm trying to use Karsdorp, who was my box-to-box player, and get him involved a little bit more. Some really nice turns from Immobile here. That's where, as a big guy, his dribbling was still dead nice. We got it back to Karsdorp on his weak foot, obviously before start. We managed to get the game even again, and that's where I'm saying like Karsdorp in the situation was playing the space that Milinkovic-Savic would be, and that's where they will get opportunities to run into the box if you send them, or sometimes naturally. And then they can score. So that's why it's still important to have not just a defensive midfielder beside another defensive midfielder. You actually want a box-to-box, and that pass was absurd. The winning goal all came from his kickoff. This game was really back and forth. We won the ball here with Pellegrini, and this is kind of the shape you can expect to see. So I made some changes here. I took Karsdorp off, put Pellegrini onto that side, and put Perisic on my left midfielder. This is the shape where, like, if you have been defending and then you transition into the attack, and obviously it's balance, so the fullbacks hold their space well, but you can see there, if you look at the bottom, that little dot Emerson, he's going to be staying back, but Caffrey starts to make his run naturally. Pellegrini is my right midfielder, who is just on stay on the edge of the box, so I can manually pull him forward. Brozovic drops in to cover the space between the centre backs, which you can see here, and then Perisic is going to start making runs as the left centre midfielder, because I have him on get forward and get into the box for cross. But doesn't matter, because Insigne just a little bit of dribbling, and then absolutely fires it in top bins, and then we won the game 3-2. And the final bit of gameplay here is the 5-2 win, where I ran pressing for the entire game. I think basically we'll show you all the goals in this, including the ones I conceded, because there'll be some. It'll be per defending for me, which is a common thing to experience on the channel here, or it's going to be because the press was as useful as it can be sometimes, it went against us. So we did concede first in this game. Basically, I was on the attack, I lost the ball, he just played a big looping ball into Immobile, and there wasn't much I could really do about it. It wasn't so much on the formation, it's just one of those ones where through balls can be really overpowered if the pass is right, and in that case it was. We got back into the game with a bit of a counter attack. I win the ball back, per pass from him here actually, but straight away, this is why I have Dybala on stay forward, because it can leave you into these 3-on-2 situations depending on how the other person attacks. And Sydney didn't quite make the run I wanted him to here, and then it was I think gameplay was a bit muddy at this point, and Insigne managed to win that challenge and play the ball across to Dybala. Yeah, so he went 2-1 down in this, and it wasn't even from the pressing issue. He just wins a header with Eder Militao off it. So I feel the first goal is probably the only one where it sort of showcases where the press can happen, because my team has been pressing, I've been on the ball, they're going to be going forward, out of shape a little bit, and he can't pump a through ball. But obviously 2-1 down, but we go on to win this. I think I know what happens here. I just run straight through with Insigne and score the goal. He's so small and so quick, you can get away, you can really abuse him on kick-off goals like that. This entire segment just sort of shows the press from when you're losing. Obviously I pushed for Brozovic there, which means the centre-back has to step up. We play it through to Dybala, and then there's some passing options. I tried to run it down to the side. Nothing really comes from this. It's a cross into the box, and they get the ball back. But my team's going to be actively pressing for 7 seconds here, and you can see that with Cafu and Pellegrini. We get it back, and then manage to work some space with Immobile, get it through to Mkhitaryan. Didn't quite pay off, but Insigne's there, cut it back and finesse. But that's the prime example of how the press can work. If you're losing the ball in the attacking situations, it can be an opportunity just to really close the opponent in. Like, you actually, when people have a press against me, and you'll know when you get stuck into the press situation because you're struggling to get out from your back line. Pumping it long doesn't work because they'll just be able to recycle straight away. You can actually feel that pressure building, and we managed to do it there to get that goal. This is actually a great example as well. I won the ball with Chiellini, and I've gone forward with it, but like my team continues to press, and Chiellini manually presses, and then I switch into him, and then we managed to score from it, which was very lucky because the shot was awful and it bounces off Bremer. But it just shows how strong the press can be. But obviously you have to be aware that if you're playing a high level player, they'll be able to hit you, counter your press as well sometimes. And this is the final goal. It's Pellegrini, Immobile. This guy was AFK at the start, then does start playing again. We get the ball into the box with Immobile. The shot doesn't quite work out, but you see Pellegrini's here. We are pressing to win the ball back. And then dink it into the middle and Dybala finishes off, and that's the end of the gameplay. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of this system. If you do try it, let me know how you get on with it, please. I know it's always great to see you guys with the feedback saying that you tried out a system and they got you more wins and got you promoted in rivals, or managed to help you get that extra win and rank in the likes of Foot Champs. It's always great to see, and I really love that feedback. So let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. I know a lot of you guys aren't subscribed, and that's going to be the case with the growing channel, but all the support on that is greatly appreciated. A little tip just as we end: you need to complete the Chiellini SPC because he's like 100k for this insane card. And also I'd recommend going and picking up Felipe Anderson. He's one of the best shapeshifter cards, and the SPC is very well priced. But that's me for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.